Hi, we are the jewelry teams, and we will make a presentation about the Yamanashi traditional jewelry and its potential in Japan. So we surveyed more than 2,000 Japanese people. We asked them the first questions: which prefecture do you associate with Japan the most? Only 2% of Japanese answered Yamanashi. More than 50% answered Tokyo. So Yamanashi came in ninth place. So we answered to South American questions. We answered these questions. Do you associate Japan with jewelry? More than 80% answers no, but there is a catch. We asked them, would you be interested in Yamanashi jewelry and in the traditional Japanese jewelry? More than 70% answered yes. This shows that the target audience has a desire but not awareness about the product. So we wondered, if Yamanashi is one of the Japanese hidden gems, how can we turn these gems into Japanese signatures to the world? In order to that questions, we need to understand Yamanashi jewelry's market.
So to start off, as you can see in this Buddha statue, that is 200-year-old traditional Japanese way of making jewelry. It's a market that is rooted in tradition. In this part, there is an example of a modern Yamanashi jewelry produced nowadays that it mixture this tradition and the luxury. And you can see the imperfection of the stones that it makes them unique and a way of the traditional jewelry in Yamanashi can be. So that's the thing. Yamanashi's gems does not come from Japan. It does not even come from Yamanashi. It comes mostly from Latin America, but more specifically Brazil. So, however, what makes Yamanashi's jewelry representative of Japan is the legacy they carry through their handcrafting techniques. Well, but Yamanashi is one of the most traditional areas of production. People don't associate it with jewelry. And the jewelry market itself is shrinking because of a few topics that we found out. Imports of foreign brands, rise of competitors in neighboring countries, and the decline of existing markets in production due to lack of successors. This is a huge issue when you consider that Yamanashi has a very unique thing to offer, that is the mixture of enduring family legacy, traditional know-how, and highly skilled crystal art engraving and precious metal processing.
So in our research, we have identified three main issues that are related with the decline of the industry in Yamanashi when it comes to jewelry. So the first one, we're talking about the required of high handcraftsmanship and highly skilled labor. Also the finding of the right niche for the jewelry industry and the conflict between traditional and mass-produced, which I am about to explain. So for the conflict between traditional and mass-produced, we have this issue where most of the companies here in Yamanashi must continue their operations and earning profits by subcontracting to other manufacturers of mass-produced jewelry, which doesn't allow them to actually acquire the name of the brand or the brand that they are trying to establish, rather than just hiding behind the shadows of other big companies. The next one is the requirement of skilled labor. So here we found that the reduction of the population in Japan and also the not so popular tendency to enter into the jewelry industry is a very big problem when it comes to finding the replacement for the older generations of jewelers here in Yamanashi. And finally, finding the correct niche. So we have found out that the biggest part of the population that is interested in jewelry are willing to spend higher amounts of money in jewelry are located in bigger cities with more cosmopolitan tendencies, such as Tokyo, Kyoto, or Osaka, rather than Yamanashi, which tends to be a little bit smaller compared to those other cities. So for that, we have come with two proposals. The first one is about expanding the local market, whether it's with local tourists or foreign tourists, and also locals from the area. And the second one is expanding into foreign market when we are considering the fact that maybe in Japan the market is not big enough or is decreasing. We are considering that expanding to Latin America, specifically to Japan, specifically to Argentina, Brazil, or Colombia might be an option through different platforms such as e-commerce or other online platforms.
So now it will be an explanation of proposal 1, which is the local expansion of the brand. First of all, the main idea around this, the main idea from this is that we want to make people aware of the jewelry of Yamanashi through the idea of Taiken. We believe that the idea of Taiken is valuable because it creates the first contact with clients and prospects by establishing the brand as a specialist and not simply as a product. So let's talk a little bit about our survey before we go into the data. We knew that it would not make sense to simply ask anyone what they think about jewelry. We wanted to ask the right people what they think about jewelry. So the opinion we wanted of those who were potential customers. And it was exactly because of that in order to even be able to answer our survey, you must meet the following condition, which is that in the last year, you must have bought at least one single piece of jewelry that was worth 3 million or more. With this, those who did not meet the condition could not even start answering our survey. And this made sure that everyone who was answering our survey had some interest in jewelry. So all of the opinions came from people who buy and enjoy jewelry. That's how we know that our data has quality. So let's take a look at what these people thought. To remind ourselves of the first thing we saw that people often did not choose Yamanashi. Because of the pearls from Mie or the gems from Hokkaido, Yamanashi came in 9th place when it came to popular recognition. 2% on average chose Yamanashi, however, 57% on average chose Tokyo. Another thing that we have to keep in mind, and that we also asked, was how interested are you in Taiken experiences? And they could answer that they were not interested at all, somewhat interested, or very interested. And we could find a tendency in that younger people tended to be more interested in these jewelries, with an average of 60% of interest between interested and very interested. So this is important for us, especially when we're targeting younger people, because they are customers that have a high lifetime value. This means that if they buy their first jewelry with Yamanashi or with TO LABO, and here, when they get married, they will remember of us again. When they want to buy a jewelry for their spouses or for their husbands, we will come to their mind again. So we want to create this relationship while they are young. However, as we said before, the costs of reaching these people outside of Yamanashi in Tokyo or Osaka are often very high. And so we wanted to make sure that it would become a profit and there would be a rentable business. So we wanted to know how much people were willing to pay. So we asked them questions like, how much would you be willing to pay for this experience on top of the price of the materials? Well, when we asked them that, we also separated by age to know exactly how much each age group is willing to pay. For instance, we found that the average ideal price for people between 40 and 44 years old was of 4,700 yen. However, for people between 20 and 24 years old, we found that the average optimal price was of 2,700 yen. Now, why is this important? Because if we understand pricing strategies for different groups, we can create strategies that hit them perfectly, such as using a student discount or gakuwari for younger generations. Well, not only did we ask them just about that, but we also researched motivation. When it comes to jewelry, there are mainly two reasons why people are buying jewelry. The first one is jewelry for self-use, and the second one is jewelry as a gift. So every time we asked them a question, we separated in whether they were buying for themselves or for someone else. And we could find information about that based on gender, for both men and women. Now, this allowed us to have a lot of very interesting insights, such as men spend on average 22,000 yen more when they buy jewelry as a gift than when they buy for themselves. Women, on the other hand, do the exact opposite. Women tend to spend 33,000 yen less when giving jewelry as a gift than when they buy for themselves. 22% of men have never bought any jewelry for themselves in the last year. At the same time, 40% of women have not bought jewelry as a gift. Now, we believe that understanding these insights can help us target a niche and also increase the awareness of Yamanashi. So, in summary, we want to either open a store in Central Tokyo for Taiken experiences or establish a good schedule of Taiken events using the leads and data gathered in our research. And that's proposal number 1.
Now, understanding that we have targeted the local customers, we'll now focus on international and foreign customers. First of all, I'm going to present it, please.
Right. So in order to expand Yamanashi abroad, the most important thing is that we need to expand this craft to South America. And in order to do that, we need to expand the brand by making the products readily available online. So what is a concrete way of making this? We have, as a case study, Artesanías de Colombia, which is an organization that sells jewelry, organizes events, and promotes craftsmanship in Colombia. These kinds of organizations are a huge opportunity for brands of traditional jewelry making in Japan. Artesanías de Colombia by itself produces $3 million per year only on jewelry sales. They also host yearly ferias, which are huge events that feature on average 750 of the most important craft businesses in the country. Besides that, jewelry commercialization accounts for 50% of the manufacturing sector alone in Colombia. And within this sector, virtual sales account for almost $7 million in yearly income. These are huge numbers, and they are very, very appealing. But how can a foreign company reach such an organization? The good news is that they already do. Organizations like Artesanías de Colombia actively collaborate and search for international craftsmen in order to bring new business opportunities and courses about traditional crafts. This kind of dynamic is a great place to start building long-lasting relationships with foreign countries within the jewelry sector in the markets that we are interested. However, our research shows that we cannot become dependent on foreign support systems to develop. They are great starting points, but they also have huge limitations.
A very, very good example is COVID-19. COVID-19 showed that the supply chains and the way that businesses actually use face-to-face sales is struggle when facing new situations such as the emergency situation of COVID-19. And that's why we need a strong expansion abroad when talking about the foreign customers, and we also need to not do it physically, but also online. Therefore, we surveyed South Americans and Japanese, and we asked them, where did you buy your jewelry in the last year? We got the information, and surprisingly, we got that 24% of the online sales only in Japan are from consumption from Amazon, Rakuten, mostly e-commerce websites, and also individual websites. Therefore, what are the things like right now for these businesses in Yamanashi in terms of e-commerce and sales? First of all, the adaptation of the new technology is very low. The systems for the better use of data and understanding the market is not so well, and the basic essential tools for e-commerce such as MailChimp, the customer relationship manager systems, and the analysis data are not employed right now. But what can they offer for Yamanashi's businesses? First of all, a more intuitive way of interaction with customers on the e-shops and the winning customers. The correct use of the data will create a best customer management, and therefore a closer relationship with customers. Like the businesses will understand what is the availability right now for the customers and what products they can sell to them and have a better connection with them. And in the short, mid, and long relationship, create a brand establishment. Therefore, a summary is to establish connections with commerce in South America to bring these cycling experiences to the foreign markets and expand online sales through the modernization of systems that are actually being used right now in other parts of the world, but that Yamanashi needs to use it and use the leads and the data gathered in our research to enhance the way Yamanashi small businesses of jewelers can sell the products online. Now, to conclude, that we have all the information gathered in our market research and the two proposals for local markets and the foreign markets. First of all, we can conclude that we have to do a precise targeting for new user segments. First of all, men are very undervalued segments, as we saw in the market in the data presented in the first proposal. Men are willing to pay a lot of money in this niche. Second of all, there is a market outside of Japan, so we need strategies to attack that foreign market, and having the specific data for the different range ages allows to create precise strategies to attack these range ages and have strategies to sell to the local and to the external markets.
A secondary great conclusion is that experience adds value to the product. We cannot consider jewelry as a product by itself. The Taiken experiences establish the brand as a specialty for customers, and this is very effective to reach into younger generations. And finally, in order to expand successfully in foreign markets, we need to focus on workshop abroad and invest online investments. This will be effective if we use the data we gather on the research, because we need to establish business relationship with the correct allies overseas. Besides, this will be very useful to improve business systems of the already existing local Japanese business, and in order to widen their presence online for better results. Thank you very much for your attention, and we hope that we can build a future in which the craft of the Yamanashi traditional jewelry lives on. 本当にありがとうございました。